Hey, you want to know how I went from making zero to a six-figure salary? I'm going to tell you all about this, how I became a UX designer, and then we're going to talk about money. Let's go. I don't know about you, but I enjoy hearing and reading about success stories of people who went from rags to riches and how some of these people became successful by starting from nothing. Now, I'm not one of those people, but I am on a journey of becoming better than I was yesterday, hoping that one day I'll have the financial freedom from my hard-earned skills, experience, and passion. So I grew up in a single mother household. Growing up, my mother, she did not have a stable income. She went from job to job. We moved a lot from place to place. And I'm telling you this to set the context of where I came from, because I want to talk about money and make sure that you stick around until the end. And so I discovered my passion for design back in high school during my teenage years, where I learned how to use Photoshop 6. One of my first summer jobs was to design flyers for a local business at a flea market, and it was okay until I discovered airbrushing, graffiti art, and painting. After about 5 years of earning a living as a freelance artist, I realized that I wanted to expand my skills, and I realized that following an art and illustration career would not pay as much as a web development career, and we're talking about an average salary of $28,000 for illustrators in the United States. I mean, that's low. I can't stand this being the reality for the art community. I know for a fact that a t-shirt airbrush artist has a potential to make over $50,000 a year. We're gonna have to talk about this one of these days. Anyways, you get my point. I bet my entire future on web development. This was not an easy choice, but I knew that I could always rely on my art skills as a backup or graphic design skills if things did not go well. So then I finally enrolled at Full Sail University for web development back in 2011, and I paid most of my monthly tuition from the commissioned murals and digital art that I did on the side. And I was so eager to learn, I went all in. Not everybody could say this, but I am a firm believer that if you're not learning, you're not growing as a person. And if you want to learn anything in this life and set your mind to it, you can learn any skills in about 24 hours. Not 24 hours in a day, but what I mean, 24 hours that are spread out within a week, 2 weeks, an entire month. However, you want to spread it out. And if you could put in 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day, maybe on the weekend, but the point is that you can learn all this. And when you add it up in 24 hours, you can have the basics, fundamentals of any skill. I also want to ensure that we don't confuse mastering a skill with learning a new skill. Mastering something new, that would require at least 10,000 hours of practice, and that's for another topic. And so throughout my years, I've applied this learning approach to drawing, airbrushing, graffiti art, spray painting, Photoshop, video editing, JavaScript coding, web design, writing, reading, and of course UI and UX, along with learning how to better communicate, hold down my communication skills by putting out these talking head videos. I'm always seeking ways to continue to learn and grow as a person. It's never ending. I'm addicted to learning. And so now let's go back to my school days, learning how to code and working towards getting that web development degree. And I need to clarify this real quick. I did not learn UI UX while I was in school. We only had a very short course, Introduction on Human Computer Interactions, and this was the closest thing to UX that I learned at Full Sail, but it still wasn't enough for me to come out ready and land a UX position. In fact, I barely passed that class with a C on my final grade. The focus of my degree was learning the basics of web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP, and object-oriented programming. This was enough for me to code a custom website from the front end to the back end, set up a database, all the hosts, and how to upload all that to the servers. At the time, we used Ruby on Rails and sometimes Laravel, which were both popular web development frameworks, and that helped me build whatever foundational structure for any web application.
Madrid.
In 2014, after graduation, I freelanced, I designed and coded custom websites for different clients. I was not focused on the business, but I did land enough work just to get by through the year while still doing art on the side. Then in 2015, me and my buddy, a very tech savvy friend, we attempted at launching an app. After 7 months of hard work, this app did not make it to market. However, I saw it as a learning opportunity and I used it to improve my UX skills. This experience alone in designing my first app, this is where I learned most of the user experience knowledge that I know now. I went through the journey of creating something new under extreme uncertainty. It's what everybody calls a startup. I learned everything from how to do market research, how to do competitive analysis, how to define user goals and business goals so that we can measure success, how to write a business plan, how to put together a project timeline, how to make the customer journey map, how to use personas, apply them to the story maps, how to create user flows, wireframes, how to create the UI designs and in Sketch, and create the screen flows and prototypes using Envision app, and how to build that design library with consistent reusable UI patterns. This is what we call a design system, by the way. How to validate the designs by running user tests on remote websites, how to A/B test, how to pitch the app idea to so many people, the elevator pitch and the long format keynote pitch that you would put together to present to an investor. I learned so much during these 7 months. I even designed and developed both the marketing website, the web application. Well, at least I got to build the foundation of this web app. We did the user authentication, email triggers, the whole database, and got it ready to scale using Amazon Web Services. Long story short, I got stuck on the backend implementation of coding an API. And so we needed a functioning iOS app with real registered users so that our investor was ready to take action. And I had no clue about iOS app development, Swift, and all the things necessary to know about the App Store. I found myself and my friend in a catch-22 situations where we needed capital to pay the iOS developer to build it, but I also needed the iOS MVP app to be ready for our investor to fund the project. So then this entire project was put on pause. That's when I promised myself that I would never attempt doing another startup unless I fund the project fully from my pocket. And that's the moment when I knew that I needed to get a job, a stable job. In 2017, I started to apply for many jobs. I went to a Hacker X event, and that's like a job fair for programmers, where I interviewed around like 15 different companies in a short period of time. And I landed 3 formal web developer interviews and received 2 offers from that event. One was a hospitality company, the other one was an insurance company, and the last one was a company for social media influencers. I was so desperate to get a job, and so I accepted this first web developer job at a salary of $75K. That was because it was a lot of money for me at the time. And then a few days later, the other insurance company that was hiring for a UI engineer position, they called me and they offered me the position starting at $90K. I really did not give myself the opportunity to explore my options, and this was something that I somewhat regret. So, if you ever find yourself in a situation like this, don't go with the first option. Make sure that you get your options in a row. Allow yourself time to evaluate and really, truly make an informed decision. Don't do what I did and desperately go with the first one. Okay, so I landed my first web developer job, which was great. But what about UX and UI design? I honestly could have saved myself 2 or 3 years by going to design school and jumping straight into UX, but I had no clue about this field before going to school. Like, honestly, I still wonder what my first salary would be if I were to land a UX junior position. I know that the average UI designer salary here in Las Vegas is about $77K, roughly around that. So maybe I wasn't so far off. Oh well, I took the long route. But the main takeaway here is that my web development job started at a salary of $75,000. During this time that I started working, I noticed a big disconnect between designers and developers. Like I felt the need to bridge that gap, and so I slowly started to gain the trust of my coworkers. I would also sign up and attend startup weekend events as a designer and continue to gain experience and build out my portfolio. And so after about a full year of working as a front-end developer, I gained valuable experience. I started working on different products, and I also found a big necessity for a design system for all our digital products. So then I started putting together a design system. This was something I did on the side because it was clear to me that we needed a solution for so many interface inconsistencies that I had encountered in my first year while working. And I honed my skills in my visual designs, file organization, how to present my design solutions. Like my colleagues, they started to see me as a valuable asset, and I became known for my ability to provide design services for my team. Eventually, I became that guy on a mission to evangelize UX across the entire enterprise. And by the way, it's still my mission till this day, and it's going well. After about a year and a half with the company, I had a bad fortune of having an issue with my left eye. The eye doctor said that it would take me 4 months to recuperate my vision because the retina was detached. So then I went ahead and left the company on good terms with the possibility of coming back. I recuperated from that, and when I was ready to jump back into the job market, that's when I interviewed for so many other jobs, but eventually I returned back to where I left from in good terms after about a 10-month hiatus. I was hired again, but this time around, I negotiated my salary to a much higher rate. We're talking about in the 90s range, roughly. While continuing to work full time, I also took on freelance projects to continue building my portfolio. I no longer do freelance now, barely have the time, it's unnecessary, but I do feel like my hard work throughout all these years has paid off. By the third year in 2020, that's when COVID-19 happened and I was put on furlough. I got called back to working again as a remote worker after a 2-month break. This time though, I came in as a full-time employee. So then my salary got another bump and it grew around 100,000. And we're talking about 6 figures by now. As the years pass, my salary, it continues to climb past 6 figures. And there's no secret to this. Like, there's no shortcut. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that, this happened in 3 months like so many people claim. There are people that, got lucky and that happened to them, but nope, not me. My advice to you is that you work hard, you become reliable, and you be that person of trust. Apply integrity into what it is that you do, and of course, be patient. That's how it is. Whenever you work in corporate and do phenomenal work, that work speaks for itself. And as a result, I recently got promoted to a UX manager position, another salary bump. And it's going great because I am growing a small team of UX designers. So I titled this video topic 0 to 6-figure salary because when I used to paint full time, there were times when I would do it for free just to get myself out there as an artist. And if I was paid, it was commissioned work, not salary. We're talking about late nights painting vehicles inside a body shop. Sometimes I would sleep over at the body shop and I would paint large outdoor murals under the hot sun, having to deal with unsatisfied ghetto customers while airbrushing t-shirts at the swap meet, or having to work on illustrative logo designs that took months of work and more revisions just so that I could get told that they wanted to get a refund, and having to deal with contracts, 1099s, etc., all that. This was entrepreneurship since high school without ever realizing it. It's been a long road, hard work, patience, ups and downs, and lots of focus. I never thought that I would have a steady and climbing salary. By putting things into perspective, and I can truly appreciate this journey that I'm on. I want you to be part of my journey. This whole YouTube thing is still new to me, and all I want to do is inspire others and hopefully, motivate you wherever you are in your life. Let me know in the comments below. Ask me anything, good or bad. Thank you for watching, and subscribe if you haven't yet. And if you don't subscribe, that's cool. At least you heard my talk, and that's something that I can truly appreciate from you, along with giving me a like. That's gonna help me get my story out there on YouTube so that other people can find it. Hopefully, they find value in this. All right, Enoch Madrid signing out. Peace out.